boop. Hey guys, we have Erin back.
Oh
Yay! I'm gonna hit him twice.
Double horn.
Double horned.
Ciao.
I'm so excited to have you back.
I'm here.
I'm so excited. You made it.
I did. I made it.
You made it back to us here in hot as hell, Northern California.
What a
where you're
welcome
sizzling.
home gift.
Hey,
And
it's
like,
expensive here, and you're hot as fuck all the time.
and stressed and
And it's
sitting
not
in traffic.
nearly as beautiful.
No, not even close.
Isn't it great?
It's so great. So happy to be back.
Are you working enough?
I'm
Work
working
harder.
so much, man.
Well, yeah, we were talking a little bit prior to hopping on here about the come down a little bit of leaving the Dolomites in Italy.
Leaving heaven and coming to purgatory here.
Satan's
hell.
ass. Welcome back. Well, we really missed you here. I know that doesn't really mean a whole lot when you're coming from one of the most gorgeous, tranquil places on earth. Mm-hmm. I had mentioned this before, but the video, like right when you posted a video of outside of your hotel, it looks seriously like a AI generated image.
Yeah, and there's a few shots that we got where it looks superimposed. It looks AI generated. And even when you're there, you're looking at it and your mind can't quite compute.
Well, and the phone video probably doesn't even do it justice,
No.
is the thing. The colors and everything else.
You can't. So it was absolutely incredible and really confidence building for me in terms of my ability to ride. And I was so fearful, not knowing what to expect. And also traveling there by myself and renting a car and driving these places I've never been. And I did it. I did it all and was fine.
What a special time.
Proud of myself.
What a special time.
It was real special.
Well, I did want to check in with folks. I recorded a whole ass episode last week, and then it went to shit, and I couldn't even put it live.
It's because it wasn't supposed to be. It
was not supposed to be. I was really bummed out. I was talking about your trip and how excited we were to have you back on. I had a little bit, as I've taken this podcast more seriously and we're adding video and all these other things, I've run into like technical hurdles, and I'm really having to center myself because I want to lose my shit all the time over these little snafus and things. And last week I had like one of these SD cards in here that apparently wasn't like formatted right or whatever. So like as I'm talking and you're listening, there's like these little like dropouts and my audio is like going out. And I was getting ready to leave town for like a family trip and had all that stress to add on top of that. And I was like, shit. But I did want to apologize to everybody for the lack of an episode last week. It was just a solo one with me, but you guys will have to miss out on that one because of my blunder. But I have since purchased the top of the line best SD cards for the camera, for the recording equipment. So hopefully we don't have any of those issues going forward. But it probably was just a sign from the universe. It's like, well, let's just save this for the Erin episode.
Yeah.
When she gets back.
She's back.
Well, you look great. You look rested. You look...
The jet lag is clinging this time. I don't know if or maybe it's just depression. I'm really fatigued.
I got a little bit of that.
Yeah, and you go from moving your body and being active every day and waking up with no alarm and biking the most beautiful places that you've ever seen in your life, just awe-inspiring, to thrusting yourself back into work. And I am known for not giving myself any downtime. Part of that is being an independent contractor, and when you don't work, you don't make money. So oftentimes, if I leave town for 2 weeks, I kind of have to jam all my, work into right before I leave and right when I get back. So that's a little bit of what's going on, but it was great. So let's see.
Yeah, to walk us through.
I'm gonna walk you right.
Yeah,
through.
I mean, we want to hear the whole ins and outs of the story. I mean, obviously, we had the previous episode with Alina, we'll get into all those details. But how did getting in go? How did, obviously we talked a little bit about the place you stayed. Let's hear about this journey.
Yes. So as you know, because a lot of my accommodations were either by invitation and covered, I was also doing a collaboration with this hotel called the Tremennerhof in Södertörn. I ponied up and got a business class ticket for a number of reasons. She's a tall girl. Mm-hmm. I'm a very tall person. Last time I flew economy to Spain, it was really uncomfortable. And any of you that have flown economy these days know that it is less and less humane. You're surrounded by screaming babies, probably somebody such as yourself trying to travel with
I'm not even that crazy to do that internationally, but yes, no, I hear it.
The food, the smells, even the way that they treat you on the phone. So after all is said and done, now that I've experienced business class, which is essentially your own compartment. You lay all the way flat. You have priority boarding. You also have access to the lounges that are in the airports that are stocked full of free food, delicious food, coffee, booze, if that tickles your fancy, like top shelf booze.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and I sometimes get airsick, so I don't drink when I fly. It's just not my jam.
Sure.
But it almost... I don't know. I was like, do you save money doing this? If you're at the airport for a 4-hour layover, you obviously have to buy food, which is going to be $50 for a breakfast sandwich.
Sure.
And then so I don't know. It ended up being way worth it for me. And I was able to arrive into Venice feeling well rested, not hungry. My body wasn't hurting.
That's worth it right there.
That's
worth it right there.
And then you got to jump right into climbing the Dolomites in elevation. So, all right. So I land into Venice, Italy, pick up my rental car, and
you were worried about that. How did that
I was.
go?
So the car that I ended up scoring was a Peugeot. It had 3 kilometers on it. I was the first driver. Oftentimes, if you rent a vehicle in Europe, and you need a bigger car. Now, I needed a car large enough to accommodate both Alina and my bike boxes because we were commuting back together from Södertörn to Venice to fly out, her to go to Girona or Barcelona and me to come home. So oftentimes you get these really long boats of a car. And I'm used to being in an SUV. I'm used to being higher up. In Italy, they drive on the same side of the road as us. So the car was really beautiful and had all the bells and whistles. It even had an AI projected image that would show up on the screen of a bird's eye view of the car and like cameras everywhere. It was really neat.
Very cool.
It would tell you the speed limit. If you went over a line, it would correct you. And driving in Italy, that I come to learn, everybody is really chill. I don't know if it is you're surrounded by beauty and everybody's in a good mood, but there was way less people on the road than there are here. Also, they have speed cameras there that will take a picture of your car if you're exceeding the speed limit, and you get a ticket in the mail. They automatically charge you.
Wow.
Yeah.
Damn. Yeah. So everybody's on their P's and Q's for sure.
Yep. So we had ended up selecting a hotel that was on the outside of Venice proper. Now, to get into Venice proper, you can either opt to take a water taxi or you can drive in on this one bridge. But there is little to no parking in Venice. In Venice proper, where all the canals are. So we opted to stay outside closer to the airport because I was arriving at night. The next morning, me and my friends from distance were going to drive straight up to Alta Badia, which was our first destination. So that's what we ended up doing. Got into the hotel okay, drove up to Alta Badia. It was about a little under 3 hours north from Venice. And as you're driving down, and first you're driving up and you're doing all the switchbacks, in the car, and you're looking out over this valley, and it looks like The Sound of Music. And it was interesting as you get deeper and deeper into the region, a lot of the South Tyroleans, I mean, it's such a melting pot of Austrian and Italian culture. There's a very small percentage of people that speak, I'm going to butcher this, Latin, Ladin, Latin, which is supposedly a combination of Italian and Austrian, or Italian German.
Interesting.
Yeah. So it felt more like I was in Germany.
Yeah.
Because that's what most people were speaking. Alta Badia, it is a very small town that is seemingly untouched by developers, people coming in and buying property. In fact, I think most of the region's inhabitants are from there. In order to buy property there, you have to know the language. You have to be have familial ties there. Sometimes I guess there's loopholes, but they are so passionate about protecting the history and the tradition of the land, and it shows.
Yeah.
It shows.
They've kept the original aesthetic and preserved the history, if you will. Yeah.
And, if this was America, like you see these huge sprawling fields with cows and pastures in these they look like little Swiss chateaus.
Yeah.
All sprinkled throughout there, but they're not right up next to each other. They have rules against building. They're really passionate about that protected land. And the Dolomites is UNESCO protected land. I don't remember what that's an acronym for, but yeah, so gorgeous.
Whimsical. Just whimsical.
So gorgeous.
Yeah.
So we get in, build the bikes. I was real proud of myself, did it all myself, put my bike together. And I've done it enough times now that I don't need any help, which feels cool. And, sometimes after you've transported your bike all this time, like things can shift, things can bend.
Sure.
Had to problem solve a little bit, but everything was great. Bike made it there. Great B&W bike cases. I swear by them.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I wanted to do a ride that day, but they had the people that were running this, Beeler, the guys that were out there, William and Otto, they run their marketing and kind of social and a lot of their group events that they do. And this summit that I was at was for their brand partners. So the people that were there sell Beeler either at their brick and mortar store or on a website. And I believe that we were the only ones from the United States because Distance is the platform that sells them.
Yeah.
So they were hosting us. The family that owned this adorable place that we were at, the husband is a chef. So breakfast and dinner were totally included. And then there was a market right next door that had a spread of the most incredible fruits and veggies. And Europeans, they know their confections.
Dude.
Sweets and chocolate.
Yeah, I am, I wouldn't call myself like a foodie. I love cooking. I love fresh ingredients. That's the biggest draw to me. In especially Spain, Italy, France, all that. Just the food.
The food quality
blows your fucking mind. They could serve you a tomato that's seasoned right, and you're just like, the fuck is this?
Yeah.
What is this?
Yeah.
You could just eat it like candy. It's absurd, but yeah.
How cool. I had quickly made the decision. Largely what continues to push me towards being vegan, I've been vegan since 2007, is our factory farming practices here in the United States. I do it for the animals. That's my personal choice.
But over there, it's do you think?
I ate dairy. That's where I'm getting.
Yeah.
I didn't eat meat because that's a real hard line for me.
Sure.
But the dairy, so the cheese that we were having at the hotel is from the cows that we were watching in the pasture. Yeah. And he had 12 cows. And every morning they were walking down the main road with the little farmer and his son so they could go graze out in the pasture. And it's it was all from the region.
Mm-hmm.
It's clearly these aren't cows that are smashed in by the thousands with no room to walk attached to machines. It is old school, and you can taste the difference.
Oh, absolutely. And that's what I was going along that thought experiment is like, I'm not a vegan myself. Like I eat meat, but I am aware of the poor conditions, the processing, all the terrible things that we do here within this country. And we have this massive factory farming thing that goes on, but it does really stress that point. It's like if we had better conditions for that, I don't think so many people would have issues with eating meat, not only for the fact of like the cruelty of it, but the quality is just like
the quality. I mean, it's really driving global warming.
Sure. Yeah.
You know, and this is happening on a global level. I mean, decimating the Amazon forest to create more grazing lands for cattle and, you know, importing more beef. And even, I always think it's funny, and this will be the end of my rant. So many vegans or people that are like, I'm not going to eat any meat anymore, but I'm going to eat fish. It is almost easier to get clean meat than it is to get clean fish, which is also meat. But even if you're getting farmed salmon, if you're getting farmed fish, wherever there's a fish farm around, it also decimates all of the local populations of fish that aren't being farmed because you're cramming all these fish and they are diseased, they have no space, and all of that transfers out to the fish that are living in their natural habitat outside of the farmed fish. And the regulations on what they are allowed to put on the shelf, they can put something that has like 10% poop on the shelf and sell it to you.
Sure.
Parasites, worms. I mean, you're not getting
no. And we find this stuff out all the time. I was just sending my wife this thing that they found these high levels of lead in these kids snacks that we just found. And of course, like there's so many wormholes, like where do you draw the line? But our food regulation here is dog shit.
Yeah.
It's pretty low. But yeah, that's kind of where I was just going is like, yeah, it is for so many reasons, like as a person who loves to eat really great quality food, it's so amazing and whimsical over there, and but it's a huge goal for us to try to push towards that. And I think that as a people in general, I think we all think that's a fair thing to assume that we should have that quality of food. But it also means that comes with a sacrifice of like, you know, you shouldn't be eating red meat fucking 2 times a day every day of your life, you know, and you should be choosing when to eat certain things. And it's a deeper conversation, but
well, and again, like I've always said that I'm not at the end of the day, I am not going to decide that you're a good or a bad person depending on like what you choose to put in your mouth. I don't assume to know what feels better in your body and what feels
unless you're eating people. If you're eating people, that's
cannibalism.
Bad. We're drawing a hard line of cannibalism, guys.
I don't know.
Erin's not. She's kind of.
I feel like there's some animals that deserve their lives more than some people out there. If you drive in Sacramento, you know what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah, I could second that.
I'm
for sure.
kidding. But I don't. Yeah. No.
Well,
no.
So amazing quality food. These people are growing are raising their own cattle, providing the best quality dairy.
Yes.
You're eating from this chef. You were discussing a chef.
So the owner and his wife and their 3 little kids, they operate this. It looks like a little lodge up in Alta Badia, and they serve breakfast and dinner. And typically a breakfast is a buffet spread, different kinds of cereals, always croissants, always pastries. And if you wanted, you could get eggs from them or crepes, or you could have porridge. And it was just an amazing spread, often fresh fruit, yogurt, coffee, tea, espresso. Now, if you order anything other than like an espresso, they are like, yeah, you're not.
Don't go there and order a latte. It's just like,
I mean, we did. I lasted one day not drinking coffee, and then I ended up drinking cappuccinos. I'm not a coffee drinker. I switched to mud water at the beginning of the pandemic, and I haven't gone back. So my body is really sensitive to caffeine. So I would do a quick sipper. I wasn't going to order a decaf cappuccino and have her be like, get the fuck out of here.
Go home.
Get out of here. So Nave, who we were staying in our own little suite, it had a kitchen. I had a little bunk bed, which I was perfectly happy with. The couple I was with, they were staying in their own room. After we built the bikes and got settled in and met everybody, and people were still rolling in from other areas of the world, and we were just kind of hobnobbing, getting to know everyone. It was a decision was made that we were going to do the first official ride the next morning, and because some people were jet lagged coming in, some people would come straight from the airport, so we just kind of had dinner and met as a group and talked about where we were from, blah blah blah. Saw a lot of the new collections that are coming out from Beeler. Unfortunately, the owner Sasha had gotten really sick the day before, and apparently the week before we were there, they had hosted the Ambassador Summit with their ambassador riders, and it had dumped rain the whole time. So thankfully, like the handful of days that we were there, it was perfect weather, like
amazing,
dreamy 70s, low 80s, lower humidity, just
cool.
Incredible. Yeah.
Wow.
So fast forward, the next day, we ended up doing the Celeronda, which is a famous route in the area. Probably one of the most beautiful rides that I've ever been on. I was going to pull it up. Now, the climbs. So I don't know.
We were a little nervous about the climbs, right?
Yes, but what I didn't know, like, it was totally manageable, but the climbs are just long. You're like, oh, okay, there's 4 climbs in this, and the first climb is 6 miles. 6 miles vacillating in between 6 and 9%. So you're kind of spinning at tempo, but you're so just enraptured by the surroundings and looking at everything and the Dolomites and the green grass, and you're talking to people. It's just, I don't know. It's just, it wasn't super.
Kind of envelops
it's
you,
doable.
right? You're
Yeah,
just like,
totally.
I'm not suffering in a dead grass hill with dusty roads and miserable conditions. You're in the most beautiful place. Yep. One of the most beautiful places on earth to ride a bicycle.
Yeah. Big time. Okay, so we'll go to activities and we'll look at the Celeronda. Scanning down.
I can only imagine what your Strava graph looks like right now. It's just
this
big peak.
This is, yes, it was, okay, so the Celeronda, it's a 42-mile loop with about 6,250 feet of climbing.
All right.
So that was my first ride. I mean, here's where we had lunch.
Jeez. You're going to have to send me some of these photos. We'll put it up on the YouTube.
Yeah, I will.
Photos and videos. We'll
it
add
was
some
gorgeous. And I gotta say, I was really nervous that I was going to be the last one up the hill by like a huge margin of difference. I thought that people were going to be waiting for 15, 20 minutes. I was only a couple minutes behind the group, which made me feel really good.
Yeah.
And yeah, my knee, it took at the beginning of the ride, you kind of have to adjust to the elevation.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, I got to
you probably
get
got
my
to back
breath.
it down a little bit just to get yourself used to it.
Yeah, but I acclimated really pretty quickly. I didn't really do any full gas efforts. I'm not like because you're like you're in it for the long game. Like,
well, and that like elevation what you talk about, when you get that far in, and if you were to do some full gas efforts, I don't think you recover. That's the thing with elevation; it just like grenades you, and you can't recover. So smart to just keep it at that tempo level.
Yes,
just keep rolling.
So the cool thing about this area is you have these world famous mountain passes that you're climbing, the famous switchbacks, and there are cars that are in the area. Sometimes you hit a stoplight. They're doing some work in the region, and some cyclists stop, some don't. We did as a group. And you are navigating the roads with cars. It's not that bad though. There's no bike lane, obviously, but the cars are really used to cyclists being in the region. And then at the top of every mountain pass is always a bar. And there's cyclists all out front. People are drinking coffees or having a beer or having a snack. And
when I die, that's where I will go forever.
Yeah. Yeah.
God, that sounds so nice.
It was so nice. I want you to come next year.
I think I'm going to have to make it happen. We got to build this fucking
dates.
podcast to where people are like, we're booking you out and we're going to have you check out this. Whatever.
That would be nice.
Let's have the hotel fucking, we'll do podcasts with all the staff and famous writers and things like that. It'd be awesome.
It would be.
That sounds so cool.
Manifest.
Damn it.
Gorgeous.
You're my superhero. I look up to you.
Thank you. And it's part of the time, like, you're looking around and you're so happy that you're there and you can't believe that you're taking all of this in. And then in the same regard, I'm wishing that my friends were there. I was thinking about you. I was thinking about Sean. I was thinking about Lindsay. And I'm just like, man, like, I want my friends to be here and share this with me. But I was so grateful to get to be there.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was wonderful. Cellaronda, Bueller, man, they know how to throw a group event.
They got some cool stuff. I gotta get dialed in with some Bueller kit. You show me some posts here, and I'm like kind of jealous of some of these kits.
They're making some changes. The Bueller training kit typically, I feel like, works a little bit better with a shorter person. They have kind of a large mesh section, and if you have a long torso like you and I or Sean, it's visible. They've now redesigned the women's bibs. They also have a magnet on the strap, which is wonderful. They've cut them a bit higher, so they've made some changes, and I love that kit. They use the best chamois.
They're making some more.
They throw
linky.
a hell of a group event. So
I'd say so.
Yeah.
Where are they out of originally? The whole company.
They are out of, I want to say German. They're Bueller, German. A lot of the people that were working for them were from Denmark or Belgium, or they were Dutch. I actually don't know. I should know.
Yeah.
I'll get the answer for you.
Yeah. No,
I thought it was German.
What a cool fucking way to celebrate your brand in one of the most remarkable places on earth.
They also host summits open to the public where they throw community building experiences, and oftentimes they do it in the Pyrenees or they do it in the Dolomites, where you can pay and go and they host an event. They're all about community, and it's cool. It's cool to see a smaller brand growing and being so prevalent in the community and standing toe to toe with like a Paz or a Rafa.
Sure.
It's neat.
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
So, okay, so we did that. Day 2, we were doing a slightly shorter ride at 35 miles with 4,672 feet. However, the first main climb of that ride was stage 5 of the Giro. So a bit steeper and very long. And so with my body was like, what the fuck is this? Like, I don't climb like my dream would be to do these rides every single day. But again,
we're mostly bike path people with some occasional climb.
I hate the bike path. I'm trying really hard to not be on the bike path because I can't go from what I just did to just dropping back onto the bike path. It's too
it's too soon.
It's too soon. It's too soon for me. And I got a trophy, which I thought was so crazy. I got a third
What'd
trophy.
You get? Dang.
It was like one of our first climbs out, and it also was a big portion of it was
Strada
gravel.
V climb. Okay.
Yeah.
Dang, girl.
I was pretty stoked to get like a trophy in the Dolomites.
Impressive.
Yeah. I was feeling pretty good that day. However, on maybe about halfway up that stage 5 climb, I started to feel it in my knee, and I started to panic a little bit. And I'm like, shit, I don't know if I can finish this. And I'm like, Erin, you need to calm yourself down. Keep your cool. When in doubt, and people can hate, this helps me. Sometimes I just put on a playlist in my back jersey pocket, down low. I can still hear cars, but I was still taking in the surroundings. Like, control your breath, one pedal stroke at a time.
Just put on some Pitbull and let's roll this out.
Pitbull.
I wanted to throw out the most obscure thing that would not be something you listen to.
Totally. I was just trying to
Put on the fucking Pitbull playlist.
I might have a Pitbull song
Who knows?
on there.
Who knows? They creep in.
Yeah. So this route was incredible. It was so much fun. So it was really funny. I've talked to some of my other friends about this. I don't know. Your Garmin will kind of track everything that you're doing. And my Garmin perpetually says, like, you're a fucking loser. Loser.
We need more
like
shame as cyclists.
Detraining. And I'm trying to find that thing where I can turn it off where you don't hit your PR. And it's like,
yeah. Yeah. No, that's one thing. I mean, I have props to Garmin. They make some of the best fucking head units around, but I see a lot of that stuff where it's tracking you or telling you like, this needs to be a rest day or that, what. I'm like, man, I already have other stuff for that that's telling me I'm failing. I don't want my fucking head unit to immediately tell me like, hey, you suck. Like, step off the bike. You're out of range. You know what I mean?
So aside from like the week leading up into leaving, when I amped up my cycling a little bit, it said I don't remember what's above detraining. Oh, maintaining. It said I was maintaining before I went. After those 2 days, it shot up and it was like, you are overloaded. You are at a risk of injuring yourself. Like it was
heart attack warning.
Red letters, like you're going to die. So that was really funny.
Yeah.
But I felt like my sick self. I'm like, yeah, I finally did something.
Yeah.
So the next day, that was what I got with Beeler, were those 2 rides, and it went way too fast. So then the next day was a commuting day. I had to wake up early, break down my bike. Everybody was leaving. I was under the impression that we were going to get 3 full days, but the 2 of the days were shaved off of that because of commuting. So I got 2 full days of riding in that region. If I go back, I'm going to spend longer in that region because of the 2, I feel like in Alta Badia, you are actually right where you want to be. I mean, you're 5 kilometers away from everything.
Beautiful.
So the next place I went was Südtirol, South Tyrol, Trammen. You drive towards Bolzano, which is their main city. It's about 2 hours. I forgot to mention there was one time on our way into Alta Badia, the toll booths there. You hit a toll booth, it's all machines. You press the button, it shoots out a ticket, and then you drive, and then eventually you will come to another toll, and you insert the ticket, and then you either throw some euros in there or you use your card. Well, nothing's in English, and I'm trying to figure out the instructions. Well, I get stuck at this son of a bitch for like 20 minutes, and there's cars lined up behind me. Finally, the operator comes on and he's screaming at me in Italian. He's like, Tiquito. And I was like, sir, I'm from America.
I don't get it. Can somebody come out and help me?
I'm from America. I was like, open the gate, please.
Somebody help me.
I was like hating myself so bad. But I was doing what it looked like the little illustration was showing. I don't know if he ended up opening the gate or if the thing that I was continuing to do finally worked. But I did eventually master the toll booths.
That's great to hear.
The point is, when I was routing from Alta Badia to South Tyrol, there was one shorter way, but there was 2 tolls, and then there was a longer way that had no tolls, and I took the longer way because I was so scared that I was going to get stuck at a toll.
We're not doing this toll thing again.
No. So I would have driven an hour and a half, but I ended up driving 2 hours. So I get into Südtirol. Südtirol, you still have gorgeous mountain passes, castles on hills, but it looks a lot more like a wine region. Vineyards everywhere, beautiful lakes. You're only about, I would say, a 25 to 30 minute drive from the actual Dolomites. So it ended up being a really great region to stay. And we stayed at the Treminnerhof, which is a cycling hotel, started in 1962 by this grandma who owned and operated it there by herself for the longest time, hosting locals. Then she met her husband and married him. Then they had a son. Him and his wife worked there. Then they had kids, and they all worked there together.
That's so cool.
It was the father, the grandfather's son, middle generation. He's the one that was the avid cyclist that really pushed for it to turn into a cycling hotel. So this place is a dream. So every day you wake up in the morning, breakfast and dinner included, and we're talking Michelin star rated food, local from the region. If you want to have wine pairings, like the best of the best in that area. So you wake up in the morning and you have a little newsletter at your table that's always pre-set up for you. So you go and sit, gorgeous buffet spread of breakfast included with your reservation. And so you open it up and they say, this is what the weather's like today. If you want to do a mountain bike ride, here's the route. You can scan it with your phone. It's got the GPX and everything. This is an easy route, a hard route. If you want to do a guided route, this is what we recommend. We're leaving at this time. Here's easy, medium, hard. If you want to do a hike, this is what we recommend. If you're looking to do something with your family, this is what we recommend. I mean, it's like, and it changed. I was there for 11 days and never once was it the same.
That is so magical.
So cool. So they have it like down to a T. There's a huge bike room that is card key accessed in the garage, so you don't have to bring your bike stuff. And I was amazed. They were like, we've never had a bike stolen from the hotel. The area is so safe. You can leave your bike and go in
anywhere,
somewhere.
yeah.
And people just, it's safe.
Wow.
It's safe. They have a major bike washing station. They have a mechanic station with all of their tools. There's like a hanger for your bikes right out front if you want to pull up and hang up your bike and sit down and have like an aperitivo. It was a great place.
Wow.
And it is like, yeah.
I must go there. Oh,
Yes.
That sounds so cool. For them to like, I mean, it's one thing like, yeah, we're this destination where people go to cycle, but to have that like white glove kind of experience where it's just like, we've thought of everything.
They have thought of everything, and they'll accommodate any diet. If you're like, hey, I'm gluten-free, they're like, great, we'll do gluten-free meals for you all week. If you're vegan, I did vegetarian. So they have their menu. They also do meat. So also in the morning when you're sitting there, you select your dinner for the night. They always have a massive salad bar, but with like bread salad, like it's always changing every day. Then you pick your appetizer, which was usually like a risotto or something, or something from the region. Again, lots of Austrian, German influence in their food, but also Italian. So you're getting foods that I've never tried. You know, you get spatzel, you have all this amazing stuff, bread, cheese. You choose your appetizer, your entree, and then your dessert. Or you can choose, they always had like a signature dessert, which could be, you know, a cheesecake, a chocolate cake, a creme brulee, a whatever. Or you can pick gelato, and as much as you want. If you're like, I actually want to have more of my entree, can I get seconds? So what we ended up doing is, it was so much food, we would take the leftover dinner and bring it up to our room and put it in the refrigerator, and for lunch come down and they'll heat it up for you. So I spent no money on food.
Oh my God.
Zero money on food, with no desire to eat anywhere else, because it's the best of the best.
Yeah. It's a one-stop shop.
And so for essentially I'd say roughly €200 a night, maybe a little bit more, if it includes your breakfast and dinner, and we're staying in a suite, 2-level, double-level suite, I mean, that is a steal.
It's a massive steal. You would not, because what's that like, that'd be $300 and something US or something like that, maybe.
I got to do the math. Yeah.
But
maybe
yeah, you're
less,
not getting
give or take.
any of those things
No.
for that price.
You have a parking garage. Your car is protected. So the rides out of there, incredible. We ended up. You got
to like ride to the Dolomites kind of situation.
Yeah, but even in that, even if you stay in that region, you're still getting insane world-class mountain climbs, switchbacks, vineyards, mountains. You can see the Dolomite. I mean, it's still, you're still in it.
Yeah.
One day we rode up to this gorgeous mountain lake, and there's these bodies of water and rivers and waterfalls. I did a 26% climb up to this. That was the last day. I was really proud of myself. I actually posted the reel today. That was the climb we did.
If your knee doesn't hurt after that, you're golden.
I was really surprised. My body adapted very quickly and started gaining fitness very quickly. And so I only think how accomplished I would feel, what a better cyclist I would be if I got to ride there on a regular basis.
Yeah.
I mean, we just don't have it here.
No, we don't have. I mean, you have some of those steep options, but you gotta travel fucking hours to get to them. And
sometimes. It's so fun. I logged my biggest climb there. I think it was like a 10-mile climb with almost 4,000 feet of climbing. This isn't a single climb. And we rocked it. And then we got to the top and you go and sit down at a little bar. You get fries, you get a little snack. You sit around, other cyclists are stopping. You're talking with people. And that day we were going to do more of a loop. This was one of my first rides out of where we were at for the second time. The second portion of my trip. Simon was looking down and he's like, it's about to dump. Like it's about to dump rain. Yeah. And even when it's raining there, because it was warm, it wasn't that big of a deal. Obviously it's unpleasant. You're getting wet, but I wasn't cold, so to speak. So we did end up getting rained on pretty hard. So we ended up descending down what we had just climbed, and it was only a 20-something mile ride, but it was awesome. It was quality miles.
Yeah, and that's one of those things when you're mid-ride and it rains, it's not a big deal. It's just hard when you start a ride in the rain. That's what I always say. Like, I don't care about the rain when you're in the middle of a ride. Like, whatever. It's what it is. But yeah, when you like start and you're just like, I'm about to ride into the rain, it's like, I don't know. I hate this.
Yeah, totally.
But yeah,
and it wasn't cold, but it was crazy. And then it would stop, and then the sun's out, and you're like, wow. And it would be raining and sunny. So you don't get a region that is so, so focused on agriculture, and the earth is just plentiful there. It's so green. It's so lush. You don't get that without rain.
No, you really don't. That's what I say about Pacific Northwest, like even Oregon. It's like, oh, it's so green and there is so nice. And it's like, well, it rains a shit ton here.
Yeah.
And we are seeing in California what happens when you don't have rain. Everything's dead.
Yes.
And dry.
Yes.
And fires happen.
Yes. Everything's lighting up. So, I mean, to close it all off, I mean, there were a few advantages to staying with Alina. I mean, oftentimes in the past when Sean and I have traveled together, as much as I wanted him to be there, there's so much focusing on riding every single day that we don't really get to experience much of anything else. Now, I rode most of the days that I was there, but we also did a hike one day on a day where it was going to be really rainy. The most beautiful hike I have ever been on. I mean, I wanted to cry. It was so overwhelming. You're like, this can't be real. I can't believe people live here. Gorgeous hike. One day we rented one of those little paddle boats and we went out on the lake that's directly across from the hotel. Yeah. We went to a local event where it was like their summer fest. I was the only American. I'm telling you, like the only American there. Most of it locals. It was like a wine and bruschetta party, and they had a DJ, and people are out with their kids, and it was packed, and hardly any tourists.
Great. Now all I want is this fucking bruschetta.
Yeah.
Wow.
10 out of 10.
Yeah.
10 out of 10. I did it all.
You changed your life.
I lopped all Alina's hair off. That was fun.
Yeah, gave her a nice shortcut.
Yeah.
She looks great.
Short and sassy.
My wife was complimenting it.
Yeah, she wanted it super blunt and very... It
looks great.
Very straight. Yeah. There was one day where it was pretty humid where we were like, but all in all, I couldn't have asked for a better trip. Now with what I do know, I would change things a little bit more. I'd probably spend a little bit more time in Alta Badia and also go to Sudetral. Also, you're so close to the border. We could have hopped in a car and drove 45 minutes and been in Switzerland or in Austria.
Mm-hmm.
It's
a benefit of Europe, right? Everything's so close.
And I think most people, whether you're a cyclist or not, a lot of people are going like, oh, I want to go. Obviously, the Dolomites are renowned, but it's like, oh, I'm going to go to Tuscany. I want to go to the Amalfi Coast. I want to do this. And there are so many regions and these beautiful little towns that, sure, they get tourists, but you're not flooded with tourists.
Yeah.
And that I'm learning about myself is how I like to travel. I don't need to go to the place where every single person is going, aside from the Dolomites.
Yeah.
But it was really nice to plant some roots and kind of feel like you were a local for 11 days.
No, it feels right. That's what my favorite thing about traveling internationally is, just like getting out in the morning, because my wife is not a morning person, but every time we travel internationally, like I'd wake up in the morning super early and I'd just be like walking around, like discovering the area, cruising around.
It's been a bit since you've done it, right? Since you guys had kids.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, it's been a long time. It's been 5 years.
Wow.
But we used to go every year and travel internationally. For like the 3 years leading up to our firstborn, traveled every year.
Well, I gotta say, I mean, having done my first real adult international trip last year in November, we're in July, and I've had 3 international trips since. It has certainly lit a fire.
Best money you ever spent, right?
Yeah. And now I'm like, all right, pedal to the metal, putting my head down, working hard, paying off my credit card, and I'm gonna do it again. Sean and I were planning on doing riding from San Francisco to Los Angeles early November for his vacation this year. Now we're kind of thinking that we might take time off and do like some bike packing from here. But the cost of that and paying for hotels, and neither of us want to sleep in a bivvy on the side of the road. I want to go directly into planning the trip for next year.
Yeah.
And there might be a slight possibility that I go and do a bike packing trip with Alina and Simon. We talked about it maybe across Slovenia, but we'll see.
Yes. That would be awesome. That'd be so cool.
This is why I didn't breed, homies.
Yeah, no, slows you down. Slows your travel down.
Well, it just changes things.
Yeah, no, now my travels are in an RV. And that's what I've been doing for the last 3 weeks.
Yeah. Okay. So now that I yammered this entire time, update on you. Give me a little news flash. So the RV's done.
RV's done. I've been traveling with the family every weekend for the last 3 weekends, and some have not gone well. And one did not go well and 2 went really well. 2 were at the coast. Awesome. The other one was for...
Now, did you go to an RV park? And
No, we went to campsites where like you reserve and you just tell them how long your RV is, whatever. Okay. We were on the ocean. Whimsical. The coast ones have been awesome.
Did you bring your bike?
Yes. Yeah, okay. I just rode last weekend, did Coleman Valley climb, like that epic climb off Highway 1, one of the biggest steep climbs.
I love that climb.
Just did that last weekend on Saturday. So those 2 were great. The other one was for Truckee Tahoe gravel.
How was that?
Didn't go. Didn't make it. My family fucking imploded. The whole shit sucked. We had a campsite. It was dirty as shit. This is something you guys missed because that was the recording. I was talking about some of Truckee Tahoe. Went up there, had the RV, everything handled. Kids have been a fucking mess the whole week leading up to it. Our wife is like, we've both been full gas trying to deal with my son. He's just struggling with sleep. It's a whole thing.
Younger, older?
Older. It's always older. The younger one's a dream.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Owen.
And so, yeah, Owen's the Owen's the difficult one right now.
He's
so
Damien
he fights,
from the
he fights sleeping for like 3 hours straight. So we come into it. We have a campsite. It's different than the beach, right? It's loose dirt. It's dirty as shit. Like, it's not like sand where we've been going, where like the kids can roll around in sand, whatever, rinse them off real quick. It's fine. It's like, but then as soon as we get there, it's dry, it's hot, it's dusty. It's just, we're just going to stay the night. And then I'm going to go race the next day.
Right.
Blah, blah, blah.
And then she's going to stay
She's going to stay there at the campsite.
Doing what?
Chilling.
Okay.
But with these 2 demon children. So it's like.
Doesn't sound fun for her. But
no.
keep.
No,
I'm thinking back to Pete Stetna's story that he told us to not do this.
It's not great. It's not great. But we had already thought before this. My wife was almost like, you just go. I'll take the kids. My mom was going to take one of the kids. We had already planned on bailing on this. And then my wife last minute, this is kind of her fault. That's what I'm going to say. I'd never say that to her in person because she would murder me. She was like, no, well, you know what? Like, we'll make it work, blah, blah, blah. She was like thinking optimistically about this. Like, we'll all go. Okay. Get all the shit together, blah, blah, head out. Yeah, it was fucked from the jump. So like we get there, kids get fucking disgustingly dirty. And there's no shower in there yet. I haven't finished the fresh water tank. They don't have water at this campsite. So we just have like our normal like jugs of water and like bottles of water. And like my littlest one is like covered in fucking dirt and like boogers and just kid shit. So it's a whole mess leading up to dinner and the whole thing, and we're getting ready to sleep, and I'm just like sitting there with my wife, and I can just tell. She's like, no, like, because I'm proposing like, hey, maybe I just don't do this. Like I feel bad for like leaving you here. Like I just can't.
Because it was going to be.
It's going to be a long day.
Yeah.
I was only doing the.
You were doing the 70
miler.
Yeah, the one Lindsay did.
But still, it was going to be a long time.
We got to have her back on to talk about it a little bit.
We do. And so she was like, no, I won't have both of us be miserable. Just like go do it, blah, blah, blah. Try to get back as soon as possible. And I'm like thinking in my head, I'm like, I'm going to be thinking about this the whole fucking time. I'm not going to have a good time. And we're all, it's just going to suck. It's going to suck. So I'm like, I'm just not going to do it. So I ended up not doing it. And yeah, so that's kids. That's traveling with kids. And it was the right thing to do. Because at the end of the day, like family is what matters, and we were all struggling.
But you did the right thing. But the amount of preparation, paying the race fee, doing all that crap.
Luckily, I will give props to Truckee Tahoe. They have deferred my entry to next year.
Wonderful.
So I didn't totally lose out on
that. I
that.
might do it next year. I got a little spark. I'm like, I don't know. I got a little spark. I realized I was like, okay, I'm not.
You'd be
as
fine.
Bad of a cyclist as I think I am.
You'd be totally fine. So next year we're definitely doing Stetna's Pay Dirt, and I think we should do Truckee Tahoe.
Yeah.
And then this weekend we have Death Ride, which I am shaking in my little fucking boots about.
It's this weekend.
Yes.
Stats on that again.
Shout out
10,000 feet of climbing.
No, 14,000.
14.
103 miles, 14,000 feet.
Okay.
It's gonna be brutal.
Race?
It's not really.
Yeah,
no.
I didn't think so.
It's just a survival. There's like 6 peaks.
Where is it out of?
Markleyville.
Okay, so not as hot.
Not as hot. I think it's gonna be max 90 degrees.
Okay.
But I'm bringing the RV myself. It's just gonna be me. But here's the other kicker leading up to this week. Both of my kids, as of last night, both have hand, foot, and mouth. So like they can't go to daycare. So already this week leading up to now a second event that I may be completely removed from. I'm not putting that energy out there, but now they both have hand, foot, and mouth. My wife today, she's already going to be on her max. So it's today, tomorrow, and then I'm leaving on Friday. My business, like we're wrapping up doing our boxes today, so I have all this fucking work I have to get done. She wants me to be home now because like she's at home with these kids having to stay. Life with kids is so fucking brutal, dude.
I'm so sorry.
It's just like really Stetna says, like no matter what you can do on a bike, the hardest fucking thing where you're like in your mind and you're just like, fuck, I can't do this. Kids are like 10 fucking times that. Damn. They are 10 times. Just like you get so excited. I'm not even honestly that excited about Death Ride. The reason I'm doing this event, my wife's boss is doing it. And she demanded that I do it.
Right.
And now even in that scenario, this event that I'm kind of excited about, I'm not saying it's going to be taken away from me, but like this week is now throwing at me all kinds of shit.
I can't wait to hear about it. And it sucks that we have to wrap it up here because I have so much more to tell you.
I think I
want to talk about the tour because I'm so emotionally invested in it right now.
We've got a part.
I have a new bike.
Yes.
There's so much
We have a part 2 of this episode. We have to carry over.
2.
I have some more stuff I want to talk to you about your travels. So we'll talk about that next week, guys. I will catch you up if I make it to Death Ride. If I don't make it to Death Ride, Erin,
if he doesn't die.
If I don't die.
We'll be here next week.
We will be here next week to go over all those details with you guys. We're so glad to have you back, Erin.
So glad to be back. I missed you guys.
Awesome to hear
so
your
much
stories.
I got more to share. So make sure you check into the second part of this episode.
Yes. If you guys aren't already, YouTube, check us out. We have a decent amount of followers on there. You guys are leaving awesome comments. Leave a review on Apple Podcasts. And until next week, you guys, yippee-ki-yay. We'll see you next week. All right, guys. Later.
Keep riding.